Hello guys, I am going to show you a few artist tricks, some artist magic that I know you guys love doing, where we make ombres. And I'm going to show you how to do it with markers and crayons. Start off with some markers that I pulled out. Now remember, they have to be neighbors on the color wheel for you to create an ombre. So I've started with red, it's a primary color, and then I've got this orangey color, and then a yellow orange straight to a yellow. And you know, red and yellow are primary colors. So before I start though, I've got my scratch piece of paper, and check the colors, because you know that the colors don't always match what the outside of the marker or crayon or color pencil look like. The color always changes, and you can see I already tried to match these, and I was going to do a pink, but it didn't match very well. So I took out my pinks and I stuck with these ones, these four colors here. Now that's going to be a tricky transition between that orange and then the yellow, so they change pretty drastically right there, but I'm going to show you what to do. Ideally I would like to have another color between there, but I'm limited. Maybe I could use, yeah, that's pretty dark. Could squeeze that one in, it's different than that. We'll add that Crayola one in there too with my Prismacolors. All right, now that I have my colors tested, I have my markers lined up in the order that I want to use them so I don't get confused, since they are all really similar. And what I'm going to do is start laying in color. Now remember, to do an ombre, your colors can't stop right next to each other. I'll show you with my markers, because you're going to end up with stripes. Remember, the trick is that they have to overlap. They're gonna have to go in each other's space to make the fade nicer, for you to get that artist trick that's gonna trick your eye to where it fades from one to the next. So you can do this a couple of different ways. You can do skinny lines, which I think is probably the easiest, and you can just start leaving spaces between those lines and make them a little larger. And I've got that one. Come in, ooh, that's the big end of that marker. And I'm gonna start filling in some of these spaces between my color with a different color. Now I'm going to leave some spaces for my next. And the trick with this is if a color is not as bright as you want it to be, you can always come in and make a few more lines to bring it back out. So I'm going to try to lay in this orange. Ooh, that's a nice fade. It's a good transition. Definitely brighter, but I feel like I need to come back in with this kind of pink coral orange and just fill in some of these spaces. It's a nice fade. Now I have my yellow orange. Remember, I said this one was going to be tricky. You can see it's starting to show up, so have a trick for that. I need to be more precise with my lines for this transition. Just come back in, don't give up, keep working it. Add more of a space. See how much nicer that looks? Now, my last color is bright yellow. Layer that in, and I'm just gonna do this one thick because it's such a bright color. I have to come in with this and kind of help fade it out. Last little bit. There you go. I've got my ombre with my markers. All right, so we just did our stripes, and the next technique that you can use to create an ombre is with polka dots, just like the Impressionists used to use. Now the same technique applies. You just want to do dots, put them close together, and then start adding spaces when you transition to your next color. Now this dot technique actually has a name, and it is called pointillism. It came about during the Impressionism period, when painters were doing those really pretty paintings that we all love, like Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. And what it was artists just wanted a different way to paint, so they were playing around with different techniques for applying paint to the canvas, and they came up with pointillism. Now, instead of mixing colors together to, paint the grass green and the leaves green, they painted blue and yellow dots. They didn't actually mix any colors. They used straight hues and let the optical illusion of the dots coming really, really close together to mix in the viewer's perception of what was on the canvas. So what that means is when you get really close to their paintings, you can see all of those dots in the different colors, but as you step back, the blues and the yellows start to transform into grass and leaves. And I've actually included a couple of famous Neo-Impressionism artworks for you guys to see at the end of this demo, and they're really just something to marvel at because of the amount of work and time and dedication it took into creating these artworks. Makes you kind of want to go cross-eyed, to be truthful, because these paintings are huge and it takes so much time to do all of these little dots to paint and to just marvel at all the different colors that they have in them. It's just really something to appreciate, so I hope you guys enjoy those. There you go, you can see my ombre with the dots. So we've got stripes and dots. Both methods were basically the same. We just laid out our colors, made sure they were in order, tested them first to see, because our colors don't always match the outside of the markers or color pencils. Ink's always a little different. And we laid them out. It looks pretty cool. So you can do stripes or dots. Now, I already have my colors chosen. Let's get a new piece of paper. We're gonna do this with 8. And basically we're gonna do the exact same technique we did with the markers. We're gonna do stripes. Because I have so many colors, I'm gonna turn my paper landscape style so that hopefully I can fit them all in. So, a couple different things. With crayons, you have the ability to control the pressure that you put behind them. So you can do the stripes, or you can just tickle your paper as you color and make the mark lighter. Next one, I'm gonna come in and tickle my paper again with that light color, slowly pushing to get a darker. Go back in and blend this. Do my next color. Oops, I forgot to leave a light mark, a little light tail right there. Come back in, my next color. Push a little harder, leave a tail. Tickle my paper to get that. Remember, when you're tickling, you're not pushing as hard. You're trying to be like a feather. Got my next blue. This is really pretty. Gonna leave a little bit of a tail. I am running out of paper and I've got 4 more colors to do. So let's see if I can get them to fit. I'm gonna start in on the green since my blue has turned kind of turquoise. a little bit of a green that's darker. I forgot to leave a tail, but that's okay because those colors are so similar. I'm just gonna go up in there. Trying to make a little bit of a darker. This one, I need to do a tail though, because my next color is a lot lighter than that. I'm going into that lime green. So that transition is a little more of a stark contrast. Oops, broke my crown. So I'm gonna bring this last green that I had and blend these a couple more times. Leave a tail. And then my last color shouldn't be as hard because it's yellow. Now I have a stripe right there. That means I need to come in with this green because it's the darkest color and go back over and feather it out a bit. Come in with my lime green. Just do a few more layers. And the more I work it, the more that line is going to disappear. So now I've got my pretty ombre, and it almost comes from a purple blue into an indigo and then to a teal all the way across the color wheel to yellow. All right, guys, I hope you have fun creating ombres. Remember, the important part is to make sure that you are sticking with neighbors on the color wheel. I'm never gonna be able to blend, let's see, a red and a green together because they are complements. They're across each other on the color wheel. I'm always gonna have to put in the colors that are between them on the color wheel. So like yellow, blue, and then we're gonna have to get a purple for those to blend. Okay, have fun. Can't wait to see what you guys create. Here are some of those neo-impressionism paintings that I talked to you about, and I hope you enjoy looking at them and seeing how all the dots blend together in your perception to make the new colors. And this is one of the most famous by George Seurat.